French filmmaker Jean-Pierre Melville is known to adore American cinema. He became famous for mostly making crime and gangster films of an American style but with a European flair. Les Samourai is one of them. Les Samourai is a 1967 film noir directed by Jean-Pierre Melville and was written by him along with Georges Pellegrin. It is a film about a lone modern samurai in 1960s Paris. The samurai, named Jeff Costello, is a highly skilled stone-faced assassin. He makes a habit of keeping a very low profile and taking extensive precautions during his assignments. However, he gets discovered by the nightclub's pianist after killing the owner. Uncharacteristic for a gun for hire, he flees without dealing with her. Consequently, Jeff Costello becomes relentlessly hunted by the police and has to make a way to escape and survive. Melville's La Samurai is a cold take on solitude and portrays it perfectly throughout the film. How? Melville uses sound sparingly and uses mise-en-scène constantly. In La Samurai, the main character didn't have the most dialogue. Jeff only speaks when he's spoken to, except when he needs to speak to Jane and the group of men for his alibi. Most solitary characters in other films have plenty of dialogue, and sometimes they have an internal diegetic dialogue so that the audience know what they were thinking, or to expound their character more. But in Jeff's case, there is none. And actually it helps him. The silence emphasizes on his solitary attitude and the solitary life he leads. And because of the lack of dialogue, we tend to focus more on his actions. It is truly a vision-heavy film. Which leads me to mise-en-scène. Let's talk about the famous opening shot. The film opens with a full shot of a dimly lit apartment with basic furnishings and a bird cage taking the center of the room. If you're sharp enough, you'll notice that there's a man lying down still on the bed. If not, the smoke that curls in the air was a hint for you. There are also several shots of the film that have similar mise-en-scène as the opening. The striking similarities were in terms of lighting and decor. Shots of Jeff walking through empty corridors and briefly visiting his associates are mostly in low-key lighting, and they had dull environments with only a few old furnishings. The low-key lighting enhanced the dark mood of the scenes since they show that Jeff was preparing to commit a crime and meet the employee's courier afterwards. The environment they stay in, exception of Jane, gives an impression that they are shady characters. One stays at the outskirts, another in a quite old hotel, but both are quiet areas which are good for criminal activities. Unlike the nightclub, the rooms are well lit and are pretty modern. They have an ample number of pristine furniture and they have multiple glass decors around. This place shows that the patron and the staff has nothing to hide and they are innocent. This gives a contrast between the law offenders and the law-abiding citizens. Thirdly, Jeff's wardrobe plays a huge part in showing his state of mind and how it changes throughout the film. In the beginning, we see Jeff always wears his fedora and his brown trench coat and never takes it off. It is easily deduced that this is his disguise or protection of his identity. Additionally, I find the color of the coat to be an interesting choice. Brown is a color of stability and security, so when you mix those two ideas together, the brown coat signifies his collected and secured state of mind as he wears it like his armor that protects him from being identified. Further into the film, Jeff was shot by his employer's courier. We see him stripped down until he is in his white plain shirt, and this action looks like he's shedding off his own armor, and it paints a picture that Jeff is becoming vulnerable. Subsequently, he started wearing a black trench coat. I don't think it's just to show he has different coats, but also to hint his forthcoming end, and that he knows it. He visits the nightclub again, which is not a smart thing to do when he's the prime suspect. And there's this close-up POV of shot of Jeff with a chilling expression, but we could sense that in those blank eyes that he is afraid and he is falling apart. And at that moment, we might have felt pity for him. Afterwards, he visits Jane again, and we see him so concerned towards Jane and show his sentiments as he hugs her and tenderly kisses her cheek. Sadly, this is the only time we see this intimate scene. This further strengthens the idea that he's become like this because he knows that this is the last time she'll ever get to see him. Finally, he visits the nightclub again. This time we see him turn off the engine, give his hat to the coat check, and leaving the ticket number behind. Very different from what he did previous times he visited. He knows it is no longer necessary as he would never come back out again. True enough, he staged his attempted murder with an empty pistol, and he was gunned down by the police, making his suicide to be a memorable one. Regardless of the genre of the film, I find that Les Samurai is about existence. Jeff Costello doesn't really have any purpose or motives in life that he sets from himself. He lives for the purpose of others or at the service of another. This is evident when the owner and pianist asked Jeff why does he kill, and he simply replied, "I'm paid to." Add that to his person and devoid of human emotions, he is just a killing machine, a tool. When he is going to be discarded, he realizes it is already an end to him. Thus, he does what he needed to do first before letting the police kill him. And it made me ponder about my own existence. Am I living for myself or living for others? Lastly, I would recommend it to those who want to start watching film noir. It's a cool, smooth, and a minimalist film. It has depth and there's actually plenty of things to talk about, be it technical, artistic, or philosophical aspects of the film. If he likes the style of film noir, let's summarize the first film I'll suggest.